again.
Yeah.
I asked you the other day if this was a possibility, and this is 2 practices now that he's missed, so.
Yeah, it's you know, it's kind of a somewhat of maintenance. We got to look at some stuff, and you know, we'll evaluate every day. That's kind of what we're going to go with right now.
What does that mean for tomorrow?
We'll know, yeah, 24 hours, we'll see how it is.
Okay.
Is there a possibility you might have to shut it down for some games before the playoffs to make sure?
I mean, I don't know at this point, to be honest with you. It's about feel, about a little different, you know, it's like day-to-day stuff, so we'll see how it shapes out.
There's an obvious buzz in town, Rick, as you can probably tell at the rink and on the street and in the stands about what's around the corner. Could you take anything as a coach from the bubble experience in Edmonton? Players say, yeah, no, kind of. It wasn't really a true playoff atmosphere type thing, or
I agree with all that.
yeah. It was difficult. Was it difficult as a coach?
Yeah, it was difficult because the circumstances. It was very stale. You know, not stale, sterile. It was just, you know, there's nobody in the stands. You could hear actually, you know, you could hear like a, you know, somebody in the, you know, work in the back, like working on something. It was just, you try to manufacture as a team. But you know, I'm actually impressed with like even like Tampa, how they stuck with it the whole thing. I know some teams or some players just kind of almost had enough. But this is, you know, that's not true playoff hockey. Let's face it.
Who's next? Next question.
JT Miller was good about talking about the moment, and a guy who's been to 2 Eastern Conference Game 7 finals on home ice and been on the wrong end. He's impressed about the way you guys have just lived in the moment. You don't really even talk about the playoffs amongst yourselves. How important is that?
And I got to be careful to the staff, the players, that we don't put pressure on ourselves. That's why I'm a moment-to-moment, game-to-game guy. Learning moments. You know, we didn't, like yesterday to me is a learning moment. Winning the game is big for us. We had, you know, the big line, the PD's line was great for us. I didn't think we had a lot of good, I shouldn't say good efforts, we had a lot of average guys, and we won the game. So it's a learning moment for us is we grinded out the win, and we didn't have our best stuff. You know, how do we learn from that for the next game, you know, against an LA team? So I'd rather take that approach than like, you know, if we have 10 guys not playing well, you know, and we start the playoffs, you know, we'll lose our first game. Like, you can't think that way. You just got to live from game to game, and your learning moments from game to game. And then your practices from practice to practice, you know, we worked on some, you know, whether some, say, neutral zone stuff. That's it. Like, you know, 1 point that we implement that tomorrow. So I'm just a moment-to-moment guy.
Yeah, but you look for markers. I mean, that game in LA earlier in March, 2-1, more to your structures, more to your staples than when they were in here. And beat you
I think it's a confidence builder knowing that if we play our style and we do our things, that we have a better chance of getting the results. And I think you need reminders throughout the year. You know, there's been some games here, the last 4 or 5 games, where we've done a nice job, whether, you know, limited team shot total or high danger areas. I think it's hard to do to have that mentality all the time, because, you know, sometimes you want to get loose and you want to fly around and do your thing, but you also got to know who you are. And I think that's something that you know, I'm really proud of the guys this year, is they know who they are. Yeah, they slip up. We all slip up every once in a while, but they get to their game, and hopefully that game's good enough to win.
What is it about Casey that's making the guys feel comfortable with the fact that he's been able to just roll this past week?
Well, I think his demeanor. He's a fun-loving guy. He doesn't look nervous, and he just, you know, he's made some key, every game he's made a key, like a 10-bell save for us. That could change the outcome, you know, just like the other team. You know, when the goalie makes a 10-beller, you know, it can change the narrative of the game, and I think he's done that really nice, and I think it builds confidence in himself and our team.
He mentioned that he worked a lot with Ian, kind of rebuilding, not necessarily rebuilding,
Yeah.
but kind of adding to his game at the start of the
Yeah.
year, but now they're kind of in a spot where it's about just going out there and playing. Are you seeing a guy that just feels confident about the work he's done with Ian this year?
Yeah, I think Clark has done a hell of a job with him in changing a few things in his game that really has helped it, you know, from the Pittsburgh days till now. And I could tell the difference. He looks a lot bigger in the net, and I think this year than he has in the past. And I think that's a tribute to Casey and Clarkie.
You had Suter in the middle. You've used him all over the place.
Yeah.
He's stepped in and
Yeah.
filled a whole bunch of roles. If you need him to play center here, crunch time down the stretch, how confident are you that he can just seamlessly slide back and be that guy?
Yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife. He's that guy that can play different positions. But, right now, there's competition too. We're trying to find guys to stay consistent. That's why sometimes I switch to wingers right now. The way we're built, we might move people around to build some competition. So obviously put Garland with and Hagi and Petey has really worked. I mean, they've really been our energy line. So now we got to get some guys going a little bit to create energy. And I'm getting it. It's just I'd like to see more consistency. And Suits is another guy. We got to get a little more consistency out of him.
How challenging is it to tell a guy like Ian Cole that maybe for the betterment of the
Yeah.
team and load management, you're not going to play tonight? And I can just think of a two-time Cup champ who's wired to play every night. Does he understand it's difficult?
There are difficult moments as a head coach, and that's one of them. He's aware. I have a great relationship. I won 2 cups with Cole, our assistant coach. I used to skate Kohler after practice. Like, we have a relationship. We got him here because of the relationship myself, Patrick, and Jim. So sometimes you got to take a step backward to go 2 steps forward. Sometimes players don't want to hear it, right? But it's my job, the presentation and how to do it, but also make it. And he's a soldier. He understands.
Is that because of his playoff pedigree and you want a rested, focused Cole for the run?
I think, older players hate to hear their age. Oh, he's 35 years old, this, that. And it's not about that. It's sharpened his game. Getting where he's on the ice at his sharpest, where his feet are moving. Sure. He's got a lot of juice in his body. And we feel at this stage, that's the best way. And it could be somebody else, and we got to be prepared for it. We have 7, 8. I mean, I got to tell you, Friedman, I know he's the outside looking in, but he came in 3 weeks ago, those 2 games, and he gave us solid minutes. Like, he might play in the playoffs. You never know. We might get some injuries. So you got to be sharp mentally and physically.
I'm working all year on creating a standard, and we try to, live and die by that daily. So it's been working out pretty good so far.
Coach talked specifically about that third period versus Montreal, the way you were able to lock it down with a lead. What do you guys need to do to keep building on that?
Well, we keep having good starts. We can play with leads more often, which is the goal, right? So, listen, we know it's always fun playing against these guys. The building's going to be good. We just got to have a good start tonight. Super simple for us.
Generational talent. Thanks for liking the video and subscribing.